you go further again, it is also called history of literary criticism. Socrates was the first who distinguished between the ability to criticize and ability to criticize literature. Socrates, you may have heard. जगामध्ये ग्रेट फिलॉसॉफरपैकी एक समजला जातो. नंतर त्याला खरं बोलतो यासाठी विष देऊन मारण्यात आलं. त्याला ऑप्शन देण्यात आला की तू जगणार आहे का मरणार आहे, तू तुझं पोती पुराण बंद करणार आहे का नाही. तो म्हटलं खरं बोलण्यासाठी जर मरायचं असेल तर मला मारा. He has been poisoned and he died. Socrates, very famous great philosopher, and Plato was the disciple of Socrates. Socrates, as I said, first time he distinguished ability of criticism to criticize literature. The Greek poetry afterwards, you find the man Homer, growth of classical criticism, again Greek philosophers, Plato, Aristotle. Plato's views about poetry you find in dialogues, Ion, Lords, earliest instance of literary criticism. Aristotle's poetics, criticism, logic, he especially talks about reasons through his poetics. Further next period you find neoclassicism, Pope, Alexander Pope's age. He brought new norms, regulations, notions in criticism and challenged, which were challenged by Romanticism by giving priority to freedom. Romanticism challenged them. They talked about freedom, imagination, emotions, and late then modern one you may find 19th or 20th century new criticism where new tendency, objectivity, textual interpretation, all these aspects are considered with respect to time. So these were new advancement you find in literary criticism. Next point, function of criticism. Criticism has mainly two functions, two major functions: the interpretation of the text and the judgment of the text. The interpretation and judgment are complementary to each other, which are inseparable. In fact, actually you may think that both are same, but they are complementary to each other. They are closely attached to each other. In details we are going to know further. Before going to know the types, yes, we will learn function of criticism. Before going to know types, we will learn function of criticism. Function is over principles of criticism. What are the major principles? काय तत्व आहेत त्याचे? If you look at the nature of criticism, it is multi-sided, many sides are there, it is very complex one. The most useful and simplest way to understand, to comprehend it is to know the division that is often made between it is again principles are connected with the types which we are going to know. So mostly nature or the principles of criticism you may find it is connected with types. So mostly we will focus on the types of criticism. Now see types of criticism. Mainly there are two types: intrinsic criticism and extrinsic criticism. फर्स्ट इंट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम. तर तुम्हाला प्रश्न पडला असेल की क्रिटिसिझमचे दोन टाइप्स, इंट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम आणि दुसरा आहे एक्सट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम. तर सुरुवातीला आपण पाहू की इंट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम म्हणजे काय. व्हॉट इज इंट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम? इट इन्क्लूड्स द स्टडी ऑफ स्ट्रक्चरल अँड स्टायलिस्टिक फीचर्स ऑफ द टेक्स्ट टू गेट अ पर्टिक्युलर मिनिंग. तर इंट्रिन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम हे मोस्टली स्ट्रक्चरल अँड स्टायलिस्टिक फीचर्स ऑफ द टेक्स्ट, जे काही स्ट्रक्चरल मिनिंग आहे टेक्स्टचा, स्टाईल जे काही आहे यूज केलेली, टू गेट अ पर्टिक्युलर मिनिंग. इट इन्क्लूड्स ओनली इंटरप्रिटेशन अँड नॉट इव्हॅल्युएशन. ॲक्च्युली इट इज इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ द टेक्स्ट. नेमकं स्ट्रक्चरली कसं कन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे, स्टाईल कशी आहे, टेक्निक कसं यूज केलेली आहे, वे ऑफ रायटिंग दॅट इज interpreted, not evaluated. Again, mostly it concentrates on the meaning in the text. Especially it focuses, tries to know the meaning inherent, natural in a literary text, to find out what is and what its identity is. It includes study of structural, what I said, stylistic. It includes a solely concern itself with the text. Exam critic tries to know inherent, what I said, what it is an identity. Example, George Orwell's novel, as you know, Animal Farm, you have in S3 paper. So it is a fairy tale. Intrinsic is a fairy tale, interesting comic story of animals. So this is the first type. Second type, if you look at extrinsic criticism. So here it includes the study of different elements such as social, economic and political aspect of the text. तर टेक्स्टचं फक्त मिनिंग समजण्याचं काम जे आहे इंट्रेन्सिक करतं, हे आपण वरी पाहिलेलं आहे. तर त्याच्या एकदम उलट मिनिंग सोडून इतर ज्या काही गोष्टी आहेत, स्ट्रक्चरल मिनिंग सोडून इतर ज्या काही डिपेंडंट गोष्टी आहेत, त्या सगळ्या गोष्टी कशामध्ये येतात, एक्सट्रेन्सिक मीन्स समथिंग एक्स्ट्रा इज देअर. It includes the study of different elements such as social background बघितलं जातं, economic background, political background, aspect of the historical background. Again, it is also interpretive, but it takes into account the background information of a text, what I said. तर मोस्टली बॅकग्राऊंड फोकस केलं जातं, पार्श्वभूमी काय आहे. इट कन्सर्न्स डिफरंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ अ टेक्स्ट. वेगवेगळे कॉन्टेक्स्ट चेक केले जातात, लेवल लेन्सेस वापरून चेक केलं जातं की काय काय वेगवेगळे अँगल आहेत. फक्त जसं दिसतं तसं नसतं, हा ॲप्रोच एक्सटेन्सिकमध्ये असतो. अँड सेंट्रलायझेस सिग्निफिकन्स विच इज द सर्च फॉर द मीनिंग दॅट इज नॉट देअर इन द टेक्स्ट. Next one, critic tries to find out the extraneous meaning to know its relationship something else. तर क्रिटिक काय करतात, जे काही एक्स्ट्रान्युअस मिनिंग आहे ते फाइंड आउट करण्याचा प्रयत्न करतात, इतर काही रिलेशन फाइंड आउट करण्याचं, काय कनेक्शन आहे, व्हाय ही सिम्बलायझेस समथिंग इन द टेक्स्ट. इट डील्स with the text as well as the context, not only text but also the context. What are different contexts related to the text. टेक्स्टशी रिलेटेड तर वेगवेगळे कॉन्टेक्स्ट काय आहेत, रेफरन्सेस काय आहेत, त्या समजून घेण्याचं किंवा समजून देण्याचं कार्य कोण करतं, तर एक्सटेन्सिक क्रिटिसिझम. सेम एक्झाम्पल अगेन, जॉर्ज ऑरवेल्स नॉवेल ॲनिमल फार्म, बट अर्लियर इट वॉज फेरी टेल, एक स्टोरी होती इंटरेस्टिंग. But here political allegorical fable and its frame is satirical allegory. तर allegory आहे, political allegory आहे. So this is called extrinsic criticism. So it is an activity where critic tries to find out extra meaning. He tries to connect different elements. Yes, it takes especially background account of a text. So how can we differentiate? Intrinsic criticism is meaning, whereas extrinsic criticism is significance, value. It tries to put value, credit. Meaning is an investigation into the structural and thematic design of a literary text. ज्यावेळेस इंट्रिन्सिक म्हणतो त्यावेळेस मिनिंग असतं. मिनिंग काय असतं, तर फक्त स्ट्रक्चर आहे, थीम काय आहे, डिझाईन काय आहे, ह्याच्या संबंधित तेही लिटररी टेक्स्टच्या संबंधित असतं. अनदर एक्झॅक्टली अपोजिट, एक्सट्रिन्सिक सिग्निफिकन्स, महत्त्व काय, व्हॅल्यू काय, सर्च फॉर अदर दॅन द मीनिंग, मीनिंग सोडून इतर काय गोष्टी आहेत टेक्स्टशी रिलेटेड. द इंट्रिन्सिक कॉन्सन्ट्रेट्स ऑन द टेक्स्ट अँड इट्स फीचर्स. इंट्रिन्सिक फक्त टेक्स्ट, त्याचे फीचर्स. ऑन द अदर हँड एक्सट्रिन्सिक डील्स विथ द टेक्स्ट as well as the context. This division covers almost all critical approaches and methods of criticism. So these two types try to cover what are different approaches, critical approaches it tries to cover is in criticism, through criticism. So this is the origin, the function, the types of criticism. I hope you may have got the clear idea about it, the function of criticism. So what is function? Yes, criticism is a process of deliberately objectifying works under consideration, the comparison of it with other similar works in order to show in what respect it surpasses or falls short of these works. So mostly it is comparison, merit, demerits, analysis, interpretation, evaluation. These are the main function. So criticism and main function, what I said earlier, interpretation and judgment. A critic is expected to make what it is implicit in a work of art. The task of critic is to exhibit the interrelations of different parts of work to bring out the connection of each to the whole. It should reveal all the aspects of its context and its art and its design. He need not pass any definite judgment upon it based on his own taste or any organized body. So actually critic should avoid value judgments. He should not take personally. He should not take a moral stand and become a judge. The interpretation and judgment are complementary. What I said earlier, they are generally inseparable in practice. Actually, we cannot separate it. So this is the first topic. In short, we have got the details. I hope you understood. Yes, we should stop here.